welcome to SonarFeed.
Wow.
Not Hugo. Sorry.
Shout out to Ugo for killing it on the intro for this week's show.
I don't know the practice.
Wow. We've already heard refund in the chat. So that started off really
I'm gonna
well.
boot him.
Yeah, fired.
So I don't know if I can stop laughing about this. Anyway, welcome to SonarFeed, everyone. Episode, I don't even know where we are, 201
201.
officially, although it's actually like 211 or
I was wondering
some
if you were
weird
gonna keep
number.
the decibels.
No one really knows at this point. I think we let Mark loose with production equipment, and here we are. So anyway, so we've mixed things up a little bit this week. Mark is at
Sober
home
somewhere?
No. Mark went to the Mariner game,
Seldom.
and yeah, he's apparently making dinner for a chef. So I'm sure that's going to go over really well.
While sober?
Who's soon to be his new roommate, which is fun. He's not, while sober. Is it like the kids' version?
I think so.
Anyway, so we mix things up a little bit here
Yeah.
tonight. We have the super wonderful to my right.
Adam. I forgot my name for a second.
Where are you going with this?
Did you want me to say who I was?
I did,
Em?
but I expected you to be paying attention.
I wasn't.
So, yeah.
Because I'm also producing tonight because Mark is sober somewhere.
Yeah.
AKA Weigel on Twitter. Straight across from me is
Victory lap.
Victory Lab.
My name is Sarah.
If you
Talk right into your
tonight-
microphone.
Yeah, I know, but
Put your
it's
microphone
far.
right close.
Okay.
You can move
You
it.
can literally
No,
move it
it's cool.
anywhere you want.
Oh.
It's a swing arm.
All right.
There you
just
go.
hold it like
Hello,
this.
folks.
Yep,
No.
yep.
And then I can drop it later.
Yep.
I won't do
Yes,
that.
that'd be great. And then to your right, across from me, we have our special guest.
Caddy
of the
corner from
evening.
me.
Caddy corner from you,
Yes.
Jose Rivera.
Who is?
Who is?
Who's-
I am.
Okay.
Who is?
I'm not sure. I've lost track. I just start typing people's names into Twitter, and then it just figures them out for me at this point because who can keep track?
I don't keep track.
And yours truly, Tom Biro, a.k.a. what do you have me in there? As Bougie Hooli.
Do I?
And you even have the names in the correct place.
Yes.
It's like you've done this.
Yes.
And Jose, if we could get you to be a little bit closer to the mic when you're chatty.
Okay.
So let's dig in. I'm
Yeah.
actually going to make sure and post something on SonarFeed Twitter because God forbid we actually told people the show was happening.
Right.
We want to
So
see
And there's
really
nobody else. There's no
exclusive.
like normal sonar.
It's super weird.
It's just Tom.
Ugo was supposed to be here. We don't know where he is, and he apparently left his phone somewhere. If that's indicative of the day, right? I did hear a rumor that he may or may not have had grasshoppers.
I did see
Oh,
that.
like
or
the-
crickets,
Saw
or
that.
what were they?
they
One of the other.
Were
Apparently
they?
they sold out in like the fifth inning or
Nice.
something like. So, which is pretty fantastic.
Can you buy them after the seventh inning?
I don't know if they're alcoholic, but I will say, having had insects and whatnot while traveling and at certain restaurants, generally speaking, they're actually really good. So I'm expecting this to be really good, and we'll give it a try. Although it doesn't seem like the video audience is pretty pleased by that.
They'll get over that.
Thanks, John. We really appreciate your words of support about the Saved by the Bell, the new class.
And then
you-
they suck? No.
Yeah.
Would
Anyway.
you say that we're rogue sonar?
Can
someone make that
No,
Twitter
we're
account,
Sonar
please?
Feed the next
Wow.
generation.
Let's just.
That's
quit
not as
while
good as my
we're-
joke.
while we're-
I know, but
Let's quit while we're behind
I like-
on this. And
Yes,
we'll just
and
move on.
with your joke.
So we're gonna
can
do
be
a bunch of
Wesley.
different things tonight. We're gonna learn a certain person's pronunciation of a word, GIF. We're gonna hear a little bit more about that, and then we'll poll the rest of the group here to see what everybody else actually says. This will probably be the most hot topic that we cover this evening. But more importantly, I think we want to hear a little bit from Jose, who a lot of us know from Twitter, mostly. Some folks have met in person, but
Yeah.
just to hear from him what he's up to with Mariners and baseball and such, and talk a little bit of
Welcome back to
Sounders
Seattle.
stuff. Yeah,
Yes, thank you. It's fine. I'm so glad to be back.
we heard it was cooler.
Yeah.
Just a little. Yeah, slight wardrobe differences.
Right.
right. We were actually all hoping that you'd roll up in a hoodie because we were all gonna be Clint Dempsey. See if things
One day I'm not wearing my hoodie.
That was not choreographed.
Yeah.
I just like that we all were in sync.
Yeah.
So anyway, so
Bye.
So the typical way the show goes, for those of you who may or may not have been paying attention,
Never do.
is we try and do a little bit of the week that was,
Right.
talk a little bit about the week that's coming up, and then other stuff. It varies a little bit when we've had guests. This week we kind of have 3.
So who knows what we're going to talk
so
about?
maybe what we'll do is let's talk about Jose, and
Yes.
then we'll go from there. So you've seen the show maybe once or twice,
Yeah,
so you
definitely.
you kind of know how it works. Some people want to take it all the way back to the beginning. At least one person has taken it back to birth. You need not do that.
Okay.
But I think we'd love to hear just a little bit about you, how you got to be doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
You can talk a little bit about having lived here, not lived here, and so on. And I would say, what got you into sports, baseball, soccer, what have you.
Sure.
So we just turn it over to you, and we'll all jump in if we've got questions.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Washington. I was actually born on Fort Lewis, and I lived in Olympia, Tacoma when I was younger. And essentially, when I graduated from high school, about a year after, not even a year after that, my dad he got a job at Intel or
Okay.
at the DuPont plant, which I don't even know if it's still active or
It
not.
is, Intel, maybe. I think the DuPont plant is
Okay.
gone, isn't it? Anyway.
Anyway, he transferred to
Google
the
it.
plant in Chandler, Arizona. And my folks pretty much asked me, like, hey, you just graduated from high school. What do you want to do? Do you want to go with us? Do you want to stay here, figure it out? And I just thought, let me just go for a change of scenery. So I went down with them and lived in Arizona for about 15 years. Did not enjoy the 115-degree summers.
Why is that?
I've heard it's a dry heat.
Right. It's definitely dry heat.
Wow, so 9 minutes in, we had the dry heat coming. We knew it was coming.
Sorry.
Yeah, I just thought my time had finished there, and I was looking for an opportunity to move back home, because this I've always considered Washington, Pacific Northwest home. And it was around that same time where I had worked a lot of retail jobs, customer service, and I was just getting tired of getting yelled at because somebody can't pay their bill. It just got tiresome.
Like phone support type stuff, or were you?
Yeah, a lot of it was call center stuff for a long time. And I decided it was time for a change. And I kind of focused my energy towards graphic design, video production, really just learn from scratch. Like, I didn't go to school for any of this. I just kind of taught myself
Yeah.
with YouTube tutorials. And I just kept grinding away at it, hoping that somebody eventually would notice me. And eventually it worked out. Now I'm working technically I'm working with Major League Baseball, but I'm working with the Mariners.
Okay.
Just go with the Mariners.
Yeah, it's easier to tell people that way. And I've been on the job for about 2 weeks, and it's been great. Performance on the field has been maybe something that could be better, I should say, but everything else has just been great. I'm just so glad to be back. I haven't been this happy in a very long time.
So what is it that you are doing on a game day?
Yeah, I'm pretty much handling the game day stuff. Pretty much from about 2 hours before the game starts, I'll start tweeting out photos, kind of presenting that experience for the fan that maybe
Right.
not at the stadium
Right.
at the moment.
Using the official Mariners account?
Yeah,
Okay.
using the official Mariners account. And then as the game starts, then I start literally live tweeting like what's going on, providing video updates,
Okay.
Animated GIFs.
Thank you.
Okay, right?
I think we're a full complement of
Yep.
GIF people.
So
Except for Jake.
I'm converted. I actually used to say GIF for the longest time.
That's because you like peanut butter.
I do, but
Choosing
and
moms
then I
choose
just
GIF.
eventually just changed to GIF.
Just one day you up and changed.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah,
Sounds better.
here I am.
Feels better.
Yeah.
It kind of does. It's a little bit liberating.
Graphical.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, you'd think.
Grr.
You'd think.
Do that.
I'm not a graphic
Thanks to
designer.
Alex, by the way, Alex out there pointing out that Intel DuPont closed last August.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
There you
That's
go.
interesting.
Thank you, Alex.
Alex?
Welcome to Inside Jokes.
So,
Stop reading the comments. It never ends well.
Never read the comments, man. You know
yeah.
that.
So, walk us through your history on Twitter.
Okay.
And because I know a little bit of it, and then I find it funny that you ended up working for Major League Baseball.
Yeah. So I have kind of a weird, complicated history on Twitter.
Right.
I originally started off with an old account called Jose is a Dead Man.
Okay.
And what that was,
Sorry, Grandma.
what
Apologies.
I used that account because I figured I originally wanted a career in comedy, like stand-up comedy. So I used that to kind of as a platform.
Okay.
So I just put a bunch of bad, raunchy jokes on there to see whatever would work. And then that didn't really fly. And then I started to figure that sports has a really big, there's a lot to do in that space.
Right.
And then I just kind of transitioned from that to doing sports, in which I had a username by Jose 8BS. And the 8BS is for 8-bit sports.
Sports, yeah.
Okay.
I did that for a while.
I feel like that's when, somewhere in that realm
Yeah.
is when I started following you.
Yeah, I started doing a lot with, especially with Sounder stuff.
Right.
I really kind of kicked it up using that account, and then that account got shut down.
Why?
Was that
Why?
because of putting illegal GIFs on the internet?
We're not going to talk about this.
These are the things I want to know.
But it
Let's
wasn't.
just say that there's things. There's reasons.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got Rogue
Stuff and
Weigel
things.
over here.
Wow.
Just saying.
Rogue Weigel.
Just saying.
Anyway, sorry to derail.
Oh no, that's fine. And then after that, I had another account where I was not Jose Rivera, and that one actually got shut down because Bundesliga really strict on their GIF policy and videos.
And pretty much everything.
Yeah, they're
Germany is just no.
right. And yeah, they ended up getting my account shut down.
Wow. Okay.
And a lot of people thought that it was Major League Baseball that did it, but that's actually not
Oh,
true.
okay.
So yeah, and then I ended up creating this new account, Luis Jose Rivera, and I actually have kept it clean. So I'm here. So it's all
There's
good.
still time.
You're right. Still
Don't
plenty
worry.
of time.
We are such bad influences that we will come up with some
He
reason.
said
for-
he's happy.
Yeah.
We gotta leave it that way, you
Like,
guys.
I got a job.
He's like, everything went great, and then I went on SonarFeed and I like the crap part. Let's not do that. Let's not do that.
So anyway, do you have any other questions that you want to offend our guest with?
Let's see, religion, politics,
Yeah.
climate change. I don't know. Where are we going? Sorry.
Where do you stand on climate change? It's an easy
Vaccinations.
It's very real. Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Shocking. Right.
We have a full table of agreement, so we're good here.
Next.
Polio vaccines.
What year is this?
It's 2017.
Okay. I'm for it.
Last year,
In the middle.
in the middle. Yeah.
How do
Yeah.
you feel about the return of the island lung?
What?
The return of the island lung.
You're fired. Jake just asked about the return of the iron lung off camera.
He also
And
spent 15 minutes talking about Iowa.
he did. It did. We had a 15-minute conversation about Iowa elected officials earlier. So if you ever wonder what's going on, you ever want to know what's going on in pregame at SonarFeed, Iowan elected officials are where it's at. With root beer.
We're really blue,
We are really
and
blue.
they're properly colored.
We could turn a light on.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Jake, there you go.
Look, you got to tell a producer what to do.
Oh,
Yeah. Anyway,
there's a little. There you go.
It's a switch.
amazing. We're going to be less
Yeah.
blue.
Eventually.
Anyway, so tell us a little bit about, today is maybe the perfect example. So what's your day like? I know you sort of teased it a little bit earlier,
Yeah.
but like, what's that look like? How many people are involved in running social
Yeah.
and doing things for Mariners? Like, give us a little bit of the lowdown.
Yeah, so pretty much I show up a couple hours ahead of the game, usually like 2 or 3 hours, and we have a team of 3 people, and we're gonna rotate as the season goes on. Like today, I mainly handle fan engagement, while somebody else handled the actual in-game tweeting.
Okay.
And then the other person is either on the field getting batting practice shots, things like that. And yeah, we're just going to rotate throughout the year.
And how do you not step on each other? Like, do you use Slack or like, are you doing other things?
Yeah,
or?
we use Slack. We
Okay.
text each other, different forms of communication. Today went pretty smooth, actually.
That's great.
Considering it was a home opener.
Yeah.
I was expecting it to be real hectic. It was actually pretty cool. Nothing crazy happened. It just went as smooth as can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And would you say, like, what you, I don't know, the voice you have fits really well into what the Mariners do or want to do? Is
Yeah.
that part of the reason you think you're doing what you're doing?
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it because I still have my voice, but I still have to combine that with the Mariners' voice. I got to find that medium,
Yeah.
which I'm getting there. I mean, this is literally my first week on the job, but eventually I'm going to get there. And I'm getting great feedback from everybody.
And they've always
there.
been fun and lighthearted. I mean, even
Yeah.
pre-Twitter Mariners have always, like, that ad campaign that they do every single year.
Yeah.
I was writing an advertising blog in 2005, and we were covering the Mariners ads because they were so good.
Yeah.
And they continue to be just hysterical, and the players seem really, really interested in it. And I think that's a really good encapsulation of the personality of the team.
Sure, yeah.
And I know having been in the stadium an hour plus before first pitch, when you're tweeting about what songs you want to hear on the PA in the stadium and whatever those things are, I think they've always done a good job at that. And it's interesting to see 2009 and 10 when I was first in Seattle and going to games a lot more frequently, there were a lot less tools and channels and stuff to use, and it'll be interesting to see how that evolves, and
Yeah.
are there ones that work really, really well and other ones you're like, yeah, that's interesting, but it's not for us. Do you find, is it mostly Twitter for you? Or are you engaged in anything else, whether it's Snapchat or Facebook or anything else? Where else are you playing?
Yeah, it's pretty much Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Okay.
That's pretty much where I'll be focusing most of my attention. But they definitely do a lot with Snapchat as well. Not really much with stuff with Tumblr and things like that anymore. But for the most part, it's just the big three.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So I could probably just keep asking.
I'm
questions
actually
all
enjoying your
night.
questions.
So, you actually summarized the day-to-day far more quickly than I would have expected you to do. I'm like, I have 58 follow-up questions. Can you talk to us a little bit about what we should expect to see from you? Because I think people have followed you for Sounders things as
Yeah.
well, and obviously you're going to be in a different place working for baseball and the Mariners. But I think everybody loves the cool stuff that you've done, and I think
Sure.
we've got a couple
We've
things
got a- we've
that
got a
we'll
few,
show
yeah.
tonight, which we can get into in a minute. But can you talk
Unless
to us
I just
a
wanna
little
do
bit
it
about
right
what
now.
Sounders lands? I mean, we could do it right now. Do you want? All right, we're
No,
just gonna
no,
do it. We're doing it.
Okay, what do you
Line
want?
something up, and then let
Yeah.
me know when you're ready, and then we'll go. But
Okay.
just talk to us about what kinds of things we may see from you. I know you probably are paying attention to what's cool and what people like and they don't.
Yeah.
But for Sounder season, what should we expect from Jose this year?
A lot more of the same.
Okay.
To be honest with you, even in the Mariner space, they seem to be really excited about the stuff I can bring, in terms of the fun, the weird stuff like that, which is cool. I still have to mold it to kind of their model, but
Yeah.
I'll still be able to have some creative freedom in that sense. So that's going to be really cool.
How do you do everything so quickly? Because you know how this
Yeah.
works. It's kind of like you look at Reddit. It's like the fast people are the winners. Actually, the people who delete other people's shit first and then post it themselves. But when it comes to Twitter and GIFs and even Snapchat and some other things, it's the fastest person is the
Yeah.
winner in a lot of cases. So that's actually something that people I think would be interested in. What's your setup look like that you're
Yeah.
able to pull stuff down? Whether
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
adding things we're going to show probably Superstar or something like that.
I was going to do the I Believe I Can Fry.
Let's do that. So why don't we show something,
Okay.
and then we'll come back.
Cool.
And then I have to get it ready so you can see it on your computer or on your screen too. There we go. So this is what I'm going to show, right? You know the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Ready?
Players to stand up and be counted. And that's exactly what
Starting over. Is it Wirecast doing this weird thing where it's starting in the middle of the video for some reason? I am going to blame the software. But anyway, It's right now. People are watching the Fry save.
Okay.
No, you didn't lose audio. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
So we're watching multiple angles of Stephen Fry.
Yeah. While you hear in the background, and obviously people at home can hear this,
To keep that in mind, he's very good at taking
the song "I Believe I Can Fly," and it just is starting over right now. So go ahead and walk us through just the fun that you had with that. Yes.
I don't even know where the idea came from, and it's one of those things that I worry about that maybe I saw subconsciously, like maybe somebody tweeted something, but it didn't register, and then like 30 minutes later I think, oh, that might be fun. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's not intentional.
So you're talking about jokes before earlier. Like, is it kind of the same thing where sometimes it just bombs?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Sometimes there's gonna be swings and misses.
Yeah.
Right.
And you're sitting there like, this is the best thing I've ever put on the internet.
And it's like 3 likes.
Yeah.
It's like, oh great, that did not work. So yeah.
So talk to us about like how you do that. Like, what's your production
Yeah.
setup look like?
Yeah, so I pretty much built my own PC. I have a ton of space now. I have like 5 terabytes of hard drive space.
Wow.
Wow.
That's a lot.
It's quite a bit. I mean, I'm not using all of it, but it's loading up quite a bit. Let's see, I've got like a 16 gigs of memory in there, like a 4 gigahertz computer. I've got that overclocked. Pretty old graphics card, but it does its job. So essentially, what I do is that usually I have my cable box hooked up to my video capture card. That goes directly to my computer. So when a play happens, I just capture it, throw it in Adobe Premiere, cut it up, and then I send it to either After Effects or Photoshop to make the GIF.
So you're just recording in X minutes at any given time?
Yeah,
or
like
whatever?
there's like a 5-minute buffer that if
Okay.
anything happened within 5 minutes, I can capture that.
Yeah.
Especially if someone says like, hey, something happened like a minute ago. Can you get that? I just save it real quick.
And that's the linchpin too thing, like right
Yeah.
there, because you can go and find clips within a few minutes.
Yeah.
Teams are starting to get really good at getting that stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's the trick. Is it's like the person who's motivated enough to set up their gear.
Yeah.
And like anything
Right.
they're watching, they're also kind of recording it at the same time.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
We've
people
all
just jump
benefited
in.
from that. I know I've benefited
Yeah.
from that. Somebody's going,
we've all
Jose,
had-
did you get
we've all
that? And we're
had-
like, Dempsey winked. I don't know. Something happened,
We've
please.
had positive life moments because of this. You shouldn't tell people that you're always recording 5 minutes of television because they will literally be like, did you see that one time that Dempsey pushed one of his teammates and no one was really paying attention? And you'll be like, stop talking to me. Blocked and reported.
Yeah. This is only positive vibes. Positive vibe captures only.
So you've made a fairly substantial financial what just
I want
I
my
gotta
phone
be
back.
distracted.
Go ahead.
Jeez.
I was trying to be
I thought
subtle.
there was like an animal running across the table or something there. Anyway, you made a fairly substantial financial investment in what you're doing.
Yeah.
Was your goal to, at any point really, to get to what you're doing now, or was it always
Yeah.
like, this is super fun?
Yeah, that was pretty much the end game.
Cool.
Of all this. Was kind of like I mentioned earlier.
So it was your evil plan all
yeah.
along.
Oh yeah. It's plan all along.
That's fair. You're
just-
like a Bond villain for gifts.
See if I had a mustache, start twirling it.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a plan all along. Because like I mentioned earlier, I was just done with working retail.
Yeah.
And I just figured I wanted to do something in this space, and I thought this would be an easy way to get into, at least get my foot in the door for something. And then from there, I can kind of show my skills, show what I have, and then move on to bigger and better things, maybe. And then right off the bat, got the call from Mariner saying that there's this position, and I'm pretty much doing what I really like already.
Yeah.
So rad.
So
It's also nice when they call you.
yeah, that was
Oh.
pretty cool.
What's this 206
Hello?
number? I'll answer that. Right? You're like 3 a.m.
That's such good like general life advice too. Is like if there's something you want to be doing, like make the thing.
Right.
Like because I've met so many people, especially in like the graphic design space, who want somebody to pay them to make this thing that they feel passionate about. But if you're making the thing, then you can like parlay that into the next step. But
Right,
so many
yeah.
people don't just go out and make it. They don't get their hands
Right.
dirty, like
Yep.
getting into what they want to get into. They are waiting for someone to give them permission, or
Yeah.
I don't know. It's,
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's a little bit of shoot first, apologize later, with
Yeah.
a lot of things. And you do kind of have to take that risk. And, Jose and I were talking earlier. I have a friend out on the East Coast who did hockeyfights.com. and it's exactly what it sounds like. And he had hundreds and hundreds of clips and like a really, really popular forum, and was doing it for years and years and years. And it was something where he did run up against typically the legal departments of leagues, but like the people in the front offices of the clubs, the players, et cetera, like they were interviewing players, you know, like it was still his kind of side gig, like he's working in an advertising agency, and he just did it because he could. And it did get him somewhere, you know, actually financially, you know, out of the site. The cool thing is when people stick to it enough, you know, and they don't, I don't want to say back down, but maybe that's the best word for it, you know, at sort of any bit of issues or YouTube wanting to take videos down or whatever it is, like you're still persevering and sort of getting through that. And most of the people I know that have pushed through those situations it's worked out for them in the end, whether they've gotten a job out of it or it's a really cool project that they're now running or whatever the heck it is.
Yeah.
So that's very cool. So that's good to hear you had an end game in mind,
Yeah,
because I don't think everybody does have an end game. Did you have something to say?
Well, no, I was just gonna. At what point do you decide? Do you make the decision? Okay, I want to do this
Yeah.
new thing in After Effects, right? When do you decide to? Okay, I'm going to actually spend the 6 hours that it takes to learn this.
Right. Yeah. That's very true.
Even though it's a 10-second clip.
No, I run into that quite a bit. It just kind of happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't even plan it. So I have a
You
thought
get
like,
halfway through the project, you're like, I've been doing this for about 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah. You know, and if there's something that pops in my head, like, I wonder if I can do this.
Right.
It's just that wonder, that one little thought. And then, like you said, 6 hours later, I'm watching all these YouTube videos, and it's like, oh, that's how you do it.
Right.
And then, like I said, for a 10-second clip, it just kind of randomly happens.
Right.
Yeah.
That's when you really want like 30,000 retweets.
Yeah, and speaking, and actually the one that I was thinking of, we're going to go to is...
It needs no introduction.
Well, he can't see it.
He can't see it.
Super Mario Brothers.
Gotcha.
I mean, I could have just muted you.
That's too easy. Okay, so I'm going
He can also just turn his
I'm
microphone
going to
off.
start the Jordan Morris.
Marshall, easy
thing. So
clearance
you
on the
see
cross. Ladero.
Star bouncing. Right? We have some motion tracking going on there.
Yeah.
And then you see the colors strobing. You know, so that's all stuff that, I mean, knowing how to do this, you're like, now you can look back and like, oh, that could be easy.
Right.
But was this one of the first times that you used some of those techniques?
Yeah.
Because
So
I remember you talking about that on Twitter at the time.
yeah, because I think it was, I think Herc actually put out a request for it. And what I originally wanted to do was I wanted to have Jordan actually be the one that was flashing.
Just Jordan.
Just Jordan.
Yeah.
But that looked like it was going to take a long time because that's a lot of
Rotoscoping.
Rotoscoping.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You're like, I touched it, and you were like, no.
Yeah.
Exactly. So then I just thought, screw it. I'm just going to make the whole screen just
Right.
flash, make it easy. Yeah, and just all came together.
But then you had to you do a little bit of motion tracking with the star, or did you just do that?
That is actually
manually?
what took me the longest because that's when I started getting into using 3D.
Right.
In After Effects and even in Cinema 4D.
Okay.
Just the whole concept of using 3D space
Yeah.
was new to me at that time. So that took me a long time to figure that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, all came together.
Nice.
Yeah.
It was one of my favorites. I just remember.
I think it was one of everyone's
Right,
favorites.
exactly.
We got a number of great comments in the chat. The Emilys were both OMG.
Right.
This one is great.
There's another one that I'm going to put up right now.
Hi, we are Emily.
It is the WWE Jordan signing
Yes.
with
Yeah.
Jordan in the middle. I don't know anything about WWE.
Yeah.
So who are these people?
That's an old clip from the 90s. It's actually WCW.
Okay.
When the NWO or when
It's absolutely
when
my
Hulk
favorite.
Hogan first turned heel the very first time, and he joined forces with the evil NWO.
Right.
And then the whole thing behind that was nobody saw that coming. And I thought about when Jordan was doing the whole training at Warner Bremen.
Right.
Yeah, Werder Bremen.
Everybody felt like, oh, great, he's going to go over there, and this is it. And then all of a sudden we find out he's signing here. So I thought that would be a good reason to run that clip.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun making that one because it's just so silly. It's just,
It was fun.
it's so silly.
That is a pretty classic, like, you know, cartoon or whatever you want to say, like animated television thing to
Yeah.
do.
Trope.
And like a trope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trope to me always has a negative feel to
Okay.
it, but it's actually it's appropriate usage. Giant heads on
Yeah.
anything, like it
Yeah.
just works.
Yeah.
It's like Canadian people on South Park. Like
I'm just
you
letting
know
it-
that person's from Canada all the way in the back of the screen, like irrelevant of what's going on. You're like, why are there 10 Canadians in the back?
Right.
Oh, how do you know they're they're Canadians
Right.
because their heads separated their mouths. You know? Like it's just stupid, but for some reason it works really well.
Yeah.
So we've got soccer, we've got wrestling, we've got baseball. Are you into wrestling? What's your background there? Is it just a thing that you pay attention to? Or?
Yeah, I kind of got back into it. I mean, almost everybody.
Yeah.
Watched it when they were younger. And then there was like a good 5-10 years that I kind of stopped watching it.
For sure.
Just life happened. And then recently I started getting into it because soccer Twitter and wrestling Twitter.
High overlap.
There's a huge
Yeah.
intersection.
Just a
Yeah.
little
It was where Jeremiah was talking about that a week or so ago.
Right.
And I'm not really a wrestling person. I just can't deal. But like I don't really care if everybody else likes
Right.
it, like whatever.
Yeah,
but I have a really good friend growing up, my best friend growing up, who his parents would, splurge for WrestleMania, and they were the people with the the big screen TV back when it was like projection, and they had it was like it took up it was like here to the wall from
Right,
here,
right.
when it was 50
And
inches.
it was
Yeah.
it was lined, so you couldn't really
They had
see
a
it.
laser
Right.
disc player.
Yeah.
like they were those people. But I remember we'd have like a WrestleMania party, and order like 5 pizzas, and a bunch of us would be over, and you were 12 or whatever it was, and but like I do agree, it like took a break, and I don't think it took a break for just a few people. Like there was a moment where it just was not as big, and then something happened with the television and the way they started producing things, or the characters, or whatever it was, where like I just noticed a massive uptick of like people I know that I would never have guessed they were into
Right.
wrestling, and you're
Yeah.
like, wow, 20% of your Twitter is now wrestling. Like what happened there? But okay, that's interesting. Anything else that you are interested in or passionate about that we don't know that you're allowed to tell us on a family show?
I'm pretty vocal about what I like. I mean, I'll put it out on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much everything you see on my Twitter feed and whatnot, that's who I am. That's what I like. Yeah.
Cool.
Great.
So Max is here somewhere, and I want to get Max in to talk about some things, but we'll wait till he comes back. I think he had to take a phone call.
It'd probably be best to wait till he comes back to have him on
Yeah.
camera.
I mean, we probably
If he
could
wasn't
just
here-
call him and hold the phone.
There you go.
He could FaceTime into the show.
FaceTime into the show.
Yeah. Let's never do that. Unless it's Jake and he wants to talk about Iowa politics. I'm getting double birded from off camera here,
double
everyone.
deuce.
Anyway,
Strong bad.
So normally in the middle of this interview, we like to talk some SonarFeed questions. So if you guys are good with SonarFeed questions, I'm
Yep.
not going to let Sarah look them up. She's just going to have to know them,
But I'm going to put this GIF back up for a second.
just because you like it.
I really do.
You're just going to leave it
It's
up
the
while
wrestling
we
one
do
again.
SonarFeed questions. It's just going to repeat. People are going to be like, "What is even happening?"
Oh, it's my favorite.
You are.
I like
control.
Ziggy's little
the little
like,
like wiggle.
thing.
Did you?
That.
Has anybody? I thought I saw one comment about
Okay.
someone who's lying on the ground
Yes.
in the background.
It was Jurgen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great addition.
It is. It
So
was.
it's nice to always
Brilliant.
throw
A
something.
little subtle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
like
Easter
6
egg.
people won't notice it.
I don't
and
think I
everyone
ever
else is
noticed
like-
it until just now.
Yeah, see, there you
Yeah.
go.
I'll admit that on
Sucker
camera.
for detail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I usually am.
Anyway, I'm still wondering where Ugo is. I gotta tell you,
He's somewhere without his
Ugo
phone.
alive? Like, what happened there?
Poor guy.
So anyway, so let's get into SonarFeed questions.
Yes.
Yeah.
I probably maybe know too many of them, so
I
I'll
know.
try and not
I know some.
dominate that. But let's start. It
I know
usually
what my favorite one
starts
is.
around, Girl Scout cookies, but I'm going to start with Biggie or Tupac.
Oh. Really?
He was all prepared for Girl Scout cookies.
GIF.
I'm gonna say Tupac. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. Tupac.
maybe. If we
Tupac.
asked you next week,
It could change.
Okay.
It could easily change.
So then why
Currently
Tupac?
raining. Might affect
I
it.
think because growing up, here in the Pacific Northwest, he probably got a lot more play. So I heard a lot more from him growing up. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
I have French fries.
Okay. So
I want to
Sarah.
ask mine. What historical figure would you most want to be in a bouncy house with? It's my favorite one.
Well done. Take a victory lap.
Oh, wow.
You actually
Here she
did
comes.
it.
Right there.
You know I'm going to make you do that all the time now.
It's fine.
So anyway,
That's a tough one, but it's a good question.
we'll wait.
Yeah. And everyone's staring at me, so that's not awkward at all.
Can we make all the cameras?
Yeah, just turn this one around.
Can we have a 4-up? 4-up of
Let me come back to that one.
Okay.
Can I do that?
We'll come back to that.
Okay.
Are you sure you're going to remember?
Nope.
All right.
I'll remind you.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I forget the questions now.
Fired.
Another one.
Fired.
What advice would you
Fired.
give to yourself 10 years ago?
Not good at this game.
Could be
more,
anything.
Read more.
Read more.
Yeah.
Would
read
that have
more.
helped you with the historical figures?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yes, it would.
It's good when the guests laugh when you make a comment like that because they're not like super pissed at you. At least I think.
No, it's all good.
Okay.
Yes, they're a piss
Read more.
laugher.
I think that's actually a really valid one. I commuted for a really long time. Like I had anywhere from a half an hour to an hour and a half commute each way to work, and I was going through 2 books a week. And some of it was just page turner kind of spy stuff, and sometimes it was biographies. And then I stopped doing that, walked to work or worked at home, and you take that out of your daily schedule. And now I'm like, well, one, I go out with a librarian, so that doesn't really help my book numbers. But I have like 16 books at home, and it's like, oh, the library is sending me email telling me to return those.
Right.
But I agree with you. I think there's like enough of my life I didn't read in that I feel bad about not doing so.
That's why you have to use our sponsor, audible.com.
All right.
Just kidding. Audible doesn't
you got a
sponsor us.
question?
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Did you look it up on the internet?
Jake thinks I'm
What
funny.
are your emotions, your feelings, your thoughts? What does your heart say about socks and sandals?
Oh, no, don't do it.
He's not even here. You don't have to. You don't
I know, I was
have
going
to
to say he's not.
You have to go.
Cowtown, man.
It's part of the thing.
It would have been funnier if he broke out his socks and sandals right now.
Oh no! I'm going home. I told you. SonarFeed, crapper. No
We'll work
more.
on this in the production notes, though, for the show, is we're going to get Aaron the next time he's here to do a show. We're going to get to this moment, and we're going to have somebody that's like, oh, hell no. And then Aaron comes in like wrestling style and just like throws the guest on the ground or something
Yes.
like that. So we're doing that. Write that moment down. I'm probably going to get a lot of trouble for
Put
that.
that in
but
the
I don't
Google
care.
Doc.
So, anyway, John Worthington, new class. What? Anyway,
Apparently, Hugo has been found.
Oh, good.
thank goodness. And apparently he's going to get his phone.
Okay,
All
good.
right.
So that's always good. Favorite Girl Scout cookie?
No.
Somebody's going to bomb us with trefoils one day, and we're not even going to know what to
yeah.
do.
If you ever have my mom on the show.
Anyway, sorry.
Smile.
I'm on Team Samoa. Samoans.
Right here. Yes.
What is it that cookie?
Yeah.
Yes.
Trefoil? It's
Trefoils?
A
It's the shortbread ones.
shortbread cookie. It's like the
Don't you
vanilla
have a
of
grandma?
cookies. Don't
This
you
is
have
the
a
best
grandma?
part when he tells me that his grandmother died like 3 years ago. I took a broadcast risk right there.
She likes Thin Mints.
Oh no! What did we do? What did we
To
do?
laugh more at. Y'all get kicked out of the bar if you say trefoils or treat the guests like they're a United Airlines customer.
Timely. Topical.
Sorry, this show is overbooked.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm confused.
There's too many hosts on the show. We're gonna drag one out
many
the front
guests.
door.
That's what happened to Max.
Oh my god. It's the sand of cookies, Emily Cummings.
Oh.
Nice. It's true.
So anyway,
Oh man.
can we come back to that historical figure question yet?
No, because I didn't think
No.
about it.
It
Okay,
could
cool.
be. It could
We'll
be
just move
an
on.
athlete.
So, what is the last purchase that you? Was it under $100?
$100.
That has affected you the most?
That's affected me the most.
Did I ask that right?
No,
Close
no.
enough.
Something that was important to you that was
There you
less than
go.
$100. Like it could be new pair of shoes. It could be, I don't know, hard drives are super cheap nowadays. So
Yeah. Probably actually my new Mariners hat. It was a new spring training hat, and I've been wanting it for a while. And they told us we had a discount the other day, so I was like, I'll take advantage of that. And I really like the hat.
as you should.
Yeah.
Do you get a discount on all MLB gear or just Mariner stuff?
I think all MLB gear. I think I haven't even checked on that.
Why would you need to?
Because you need some.
There's
Cubs
only one
gear.
correct answer.
Wow. Okay.
Just saying. Pick a team, Tom.
Cubs gear. Anyway,
Go back
just
to
gone.
Iowa.
I don't even have
gone
any more
swimmingly.
questions now. I'm so thrown off
So
by
we
Cubs
can go
gear
back to the historical figure.
Yes.
that you would
Because
want to be in a
she-
bouncy house with.
Yeah, she brought up I can use an athlete. And one of my heroes growing up is Roberto Clemente, baseball player. And he just seemed like such a great humanitarian as well.
Yeah.
Great baseball player, but he's remembered for more what he did off the field as
Yeah.
well. So he's always been someone I looked up to. And
Those-
the bouncy house is fun, so combine the two.
And you
One
know,
of
if
the-
he knocked you over in the bouncy house, he would help you up because he's a good
He's a
humanitarian.
good dude. Yeah.
Or he'd spike you in the bouncy house and then put the thing out of its misery. So we're going to come back to questions. Max, I'm going to throw you into the fire a little bit because we have
Not
a
literally,
really
please.
interesting Sounders creative people land. No. I'm gonna pull you in here because we've got 4 people that are
Yeah,
all
there you go.
creative people from Sounders land.
Yes.
And I think it would be interesting for you guys to just talk a little bit
Stare
about
at each other like we normal creatives do.
Get
Yes.
really awkward.
Yes. Although sometimes there's the creative person that actually likes to direct traffic. And then there's the other creative people that are like, what do you guys want to do? I don't know. What do you guys want to
Yeah.
do? I don't know what you guys want to do. But anyway, I just think you guys all have a really interesting perspective. So I think it would be fun. I'm going to step off camera, so
Ooh.
you might actually need to do this
If you
yourselves.
want
figure it out, we can figure it
to
out.
ask us questions, one of us
We
can
can
repeat
figure that
it
out, yeah.
on the microphone.
Are you trying to say that you're going to need me to ask you questions if I do this?
Probably.
Because I
No,
bet
we can
you
do
Max
it.
Aquino will be in charge, if I had to guess.
I'm in charge of too much already.
Public Chancellor
Come
Max
on.
Aquino.
So anyway, I would love for you guys to just spend a few minutes just talking about things that you think are interesting in like digital creativity,
Right.
Stuff that like the audience has probably all seen in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's photos that Max has up on Sounder at Heart, or blog posts you guys have written, or supporter stories, or GIFs on Twitter. Just things that people would find interesting and sort of throw it around the horn a little bit. If you lose it, I'm happy to throw a question or two in.
I think we can make it.
But I think it would be a fun thing for people to hear about, how you guys, we've got a little bit from Jose on how he fell into it. But I think it might be cool to hear from the rest of you how you've gotten into things. Frankly, hearing how you two connected,
Okay.
sort of got to do what you're doing, I think would be interesting as well.
Okay,
So
well,
I'm gonna step
while you're
out.
stepping out, I'm going to play a GIF of a soccer ball that hits 2 posts and just keeps looping back and forth. We'll have that going for a minute.
Well done. Hi, Max.
So, really quickly, as Max comes in, Jose, why is this soccer ball hitting both posts repeatedly?
Because I believe that's the goal post or the end of the stadium where it always hits the post.
Yeah,
for them.
it wasn't at the Portland game
Yeah, it
at
was
the end of
playoffs
2015 playoffs.
against SKC, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. It's a good job. All right. And we're back with Max. It still says Bougie Hooli right there, but believe it or not, that's Max.
I don't believe it. Not for a second.
Doppelgangers.
All right, creatives. Now that we're all here, we can have our secret creatives
what do
meeting.
we want to do?
I don't know.
I don't know. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you want to do?
Do you like the term creatives?
Not. It's not my favorite.
Yeah.
I was really just saying
Tom can't step out. Tom can't do it. He's back. Yeah. I'm just saying. All right. Okay.
Hey, Tom.
Okay.
Oh.
Speak into the microphone.
Yeah.
I love creative people. That's one reason I love Pub League so much, because you see the creativity coming out. How many different artists did we have this year on the
Doing logos and stuff.
The Spaceballs, love that.
How many do you have? How many do you actually have?
How many different artists contributed this season?
Yeah.
I think. Oh man. Let's see. Abe Schmidt did this one. Benchwarmers United. Sarah did the Spaceballs.
Right.
Kelsey Gallo did Inter Redonk. Jeez. Okay, now I'm like, crap. What are the other teams? Who did it? Yeah, she did.
Who
Yeah.
did WWFC?
Kelsey did that as
Okay.
well.
And Sarah.
I think Nick Biella did Scum and Villainy. Is that correct? Yes. What other teams do we have? I should know this.
Aren't you in charge?
You've listed all the good ones.
Kelsey, David
kidding.
Gallo did Sea of Green. That came out really well. I was really happy with that logo.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean
They beat us.
That's a
Boo.
lot of people. That's a lot of work.
yeah.
How long did it take you to? Well, how long did it take you to do Spaceballs?
That was really easy and fun. It's one of the easiest design jobs I've done recently. It's definitely the easiest design job I've ever done when ECS is involved.
You get 7th place.
Thank you, Tom.
At what?
Out of everything.
7th place from the Seattle Parks and Recreation Department.
7th place from the Parks and Rec. That's something to write home
I
about.
brought that, so I don't know why I got given it. Sad.
Well,
I gave it to Tom. He gave it back.
We had to give you something for all the hours.
Oh my God. Dan owes me a lot of beers.
And now we're even.
I think one of the things that interests me about specifically all four of us is how much time and energy goes into creating stuff for the community that we would charge a lot of money for, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, just the GIFs, the videos, the design work, the TIFOs, the photography, all of it. It's
love.
It's fun to do.
It's love.
It's fun to do.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun to do.
It's
but
fun when you love it.
yeah, exactly.
But you couldn't pay me to do some of the stuff that I do for another team or
Right.
for anything
Right.
else.
Yeah,
because
that's all.
I just
That is
wouldn't,
very
'cause
true.
It's not,
Yeah.
when you work, especially if you work in a creative field and you do that all day long, and then you come home and you want to do more of it, there has to be a good reason.
Yeah.
It has to be something you really enjoy for something that you love. And I think, I don't know if you feel this way too, but I think the best for me is when people really rally behind a TIFO display or
Right.
a really good tweet or a GIF or whatever it is, or a photo from a match, and really love it, and then the players respond to it and they get excited
Right.
about it. That just fuels that passion to keep making
Yeah.
stuff,
Yep.
because you're kind of spurring on the fans and
Yeah.
supporters.
Well,
and
for
team.
me, it's kind of a well I go to when I'm doing all of the creative stuff for business, and I'm doing it for businesses that, frankly, I'm not invested in and I don't really care about. And so every now and then, I need to kind of go and recharge my creative juices, and so I can do something. Well, and it kind of comes back to what we were talking about earlier, where I want to learn how to do this thing.
Yeah.
Right? And so I'll play for 5 hours in After Effects and forget to put my kids to bed. And I'll have this really cool 10-second GIF, and I'll also have a tool that I've now used, but it's rejuvenation for me.
Yeah.
Because it's something that I'm passionate about.
Yeah, you got to keep your blade sharp.
Yeah.
I mean, even there's so much stuff that I've made that I haven't even put out.
Right.
Just
Yes.
because there's stuff I want to learn, so I spend hours working on it, and I'm like, now I know it, and then I don't even put whatever I was working on out.
Right.
Yeah, you just got to stay sharp. Especially if this is something you want to do as a career.
Yeah.
If you slack behind, it's gonna pass you by.
Yeah.
So you have to stay on top of it if this is something you want to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, I've got the opposite problem. I'm just working a job that it's a good job. It pays the bills, but it's not. The creative side of me does not come out during that job.
Yeah.
So I get home and I'm just exhausted. I'm tired. I've got all these ideas throughout the day of what I want to do. If I had a 6-hour workday, I'd be set.
Yeah.
But I hit hours 7 and 8, and by the time I get home, all I want to do is just zonk out for a while.
Sure. Yeah.
Or if it's the other day, I got 3 different people that I was going to be doing a project for Pub League. It was a photography project, and then it just pours down rain. I'm like,
Aww.
and I'm like, well, that's that.
Right.
Can always do it next week, but
Yeah. I mean, kind of a similar thing where I actually just got a new drone. This has almost nothing to do with what we were just saying, other than like the disappointment when you have the idea of I want to go play with this and do this thing. I just got a new drone for work, and the first day I took it up and I was up and I hit the button to make it fly home, and it flew up instead of down, right into a tree, and all of the blades just went. And it fell down. I mean, it's salvageable. Nothing really broke other than these cheap plastic blades. But yeah, so I know that feeling really recently.
Oh man,
It's just disappointing.
I have stories, but I can't tell them to you. I'm sorry. Maybe later.
Because clients might be listening.
No.
Okay.
Because Tom is lurking.
Oh, okay. I think I know. Right.
oh Lord.
Rogue! Tom's gone!
All right. So.
All right. Yeah.
All right, so here's a good one to go around the horn. What's one thing that you want to get better at with what you do in the next year? What do you want to improve on? What are you saying, man, I'm good, but I could do better, or I want to learn this new side of it. Or what's next?
I can go first. I have an easy, quick one. I took quite a bit of a break, but I've been trying to write 500 words every day, and a bunch of different cool supporter people have joined me, and that's purely because I eventually want to write something for work. I want to get paid to write at some point, but I'm not a writer by trade. That's not at all what I do. So my thought was, if I write a certain amount of words every day and I just continue to do that, then I'll like hone that craft, I'll get better at that, and then when I finally come up with that really good idea that I want to write about, I'll have actually been practicing to get to a point where I can do that efficiently and effectively. So that's one thing I've been working on.
Nice. For me, it's actually, I don't know if it's really creative, but it's more me learning Spanish. You hear the name Jose and you think like, oh, he speaks Spanish. Nope. I don't. But it's something that, I want to do. And it doesn't like define me or anything, but it's just something I'd like to have a conversation with my grandmother in Spanish one day. Because, it's getting, she's getting up there.
Right.
So, I at least want to do that. And that's something that I told myself as part of my New Year's resolution, whether people call it that or not. That's something that I want to do in this next year, is just get better at it, learn more. So, yeah. You're right there?
Yeah, I'm thinking. When I think, it hurts, and the people around me notice. One of the things that I've really been thinking a lot about and kind of forced to, because I got tricked into being a teacher this year, a high school teacher, which is really funny because I didn't graduate high school, but now I'm teaching high school. But I'm teaching them live production, using a lot of the same gear that I use to do the S2 games, to do GeekWire events and stuff like that. One of the things that I've really, really, really been thinking about and I want to get better at is showing the students not the technical, like here's how to do, go from camera 1 to camera 2, but like invest in them and teach them what they can do with it, where they can go with it.
Yeah.
Because it's not a skill. Like I learned it because in this very, very, very same way you did, where I just kind of got thrown into it and like, okay, learn how to swim, learn how to do live video. I never had any training. It's not really something that you can formally train. I mean, the people on my crew during an S2 game, for the most part, don't have, like the guy who's doing instant replay, he learned it by just showing up and doing it. He didn't go to school to learn instant replay.
Yeah.
But it's a skill that there's a very small number of people, especially like in this city, surprisingly, that know how to do instant replay, that know how to do this kind of technical direction and live switching. And I want that kind of, I want the kids to see why it's important, where they could go with it.
Yeah.
That they don't have to go to college to get this huge programming degree, but there's jobs, there's things out there that are so much fun to do, like this. that I would never have had the opportunity to do.
Dave Clark drops by and says, "I'm finally listening." So Dave's in the house, everybody.
Uh-oh.
Welcome, Dave.
For me, there's two things. I'm going to cheat a little bit. The first one is I want to get better at doing like photo sessions and portrait photography, because sports, I've been doing it for about 3-4 years, well, longer, but I've actually been recognized for like 3-4 years, and by recognized, I mean I actually have somewhere to post my stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Besides Facebook, which is where a lot of it winds up anyway. But hey,
Yeah.
and it's just a side that I'm terrible at, that I want to get better at. And there's a lot of creativity sides on that I want to explore, that I'm still working out the kinks on. And then also what you said with writing, I'm trying to get back into that. And now that I'm at Sound of Heart this year, I want to start writing photography articles. And
There you go.
unfortunately, I'm my own worst enemy. I start an article, I think I have a great idea. I get 3/4 of the way through an article, I said, this is trash, no one wants to
Yeah.
read this.
I'm the same way.
Oh no.
So
Yeah.
I've got a folder of like 5 or 6 3/4 finished articles that I look at. I'm like, no one cares about this. I could be wrong. But
That's the thing. I mean, there could be an audience for it, and you just don't know it.
yeah.
Especially with Sounders fam, like
Yeah.
the Venn diagram of nerds about anything in Sounders fam, like is
Yeah.
it's a circle. It's this perfect circle. Like there's always gonna be someone who's like, yes, like Emily Cumming, for example. Like she's the other ECS
Shout out to Emily.
letterpress printer. Like, how are there two of us? That makes no sense. But there's somebody else. Like, just such a unique, niche interest.
Right.
But I think there's like definitely an audience for everything that you are passionate about.
Yeah.
I'm always like, ship it. That's my whole thing in life, is like put it out there,
Yeah.
and then if it sucks, it will get buried
Yeah.
pretty quickly. But
And
why not ship it?
I mean, there are things in Sounders community that I'm like, but I see other people get super excited about that it doesn't affect me, but that doesn't mean it doesn't affect other people,
Yeah.
Right.
right? And I think that we as creatives have the tendency to internalize our own work a lot more
yeah.
and say, nah, nobody's gonna.
Yeah.
I mean, there are things that I do where it's just like so simple. I'm like, nobody's gonna like this. They're gonna look at this and they're gonna see how easy it was and how much of a fraud I am, and I'll put it out there. And they're like,
Yeah.
whoa, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Preaching to the
You
choir.
I mean,
I think that's the thought we all have.
Exactly.
I've had the same thoughts.
And we talked earlier, like jokingly, about not reading the comments, but like not to like be too transparent, but every time we put up a TIFO display, I literally have
Yep.
an hour before the match where I'm just like, a lot of people are going to see this and they might hate it, and I might be really mad and I might get my feelings hurt, and I can't worry about this. Like, I just can't worry about
Right,
it.
yeah.
Like, I have to let it go because it's done and I'm proud of it, but you kind of have to at some point just
Although I will
step
say-
away from it.
I will definitely say that I'm starting to recognize your style, because something goes up like, that's a Sarah display.
Yeah,
That's how we went. We're gonna try
because
to
it's
break that.
really good.
Oh, thank you.
It's
I didn't bring it up for that. It's just that like self-doubt thing, especially when it's like, especially with sports. Like, other people are also so passionate about the team that like it's not just like, I made this because because I love my 3rd grade teacher, so here's a painting of her. But it's like when
Right.
you're trying to represent this passion that other people have for the same
Right.
thing, like it can feel a little dangerous sometimes. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
emotions get running high.
I will also say that it's funny when people talk about like photography and sports photography, and they ask me like, what do people like? People do not care about sports photos.
Yeah.
And it's like, what happens on the field, they don't care. They love the photos of what's happening around the stadium
Yep.
as it goes. So like the TIFO displays get so much traffic and traction because, well, they're well done. It's something unique, let's be honest. Once you've seen one sports photo, you've seen them all, unless something crazy
Yep.
has happened.
Right.
So it's like that's one thing I've had to learn over the years, is that look other than where I want to look. I love soccer. I love looking at soccer. I love shooting soccer. I love getting the really difficult soccer shot, which will get 3 likes on Facebook.
Right.
There's a photo of some dude wearing a pirate hat in the crowd, and it gets 500 likes. It's
Right.
I
Yeah.
wish I was joking, but there's 3
People are passionate about pirates.
the West Ham game last year. Was
Yeah.
you guys-
Yeah.
yeah. Oh God, that's my viral photo. That's. It's funny. I can't. It was Tim Frank that first noticed the smiley face in the first place, and after that, it's like, hey, look, the Rave Green Monster is smiling at everyone, and then that's my legacy. That's
But I think you're onto something when it comes to finding moments that aren't in the game itself, and I think that's something that I think I'm pretty good at is finding moments that aren't the actual home run or the actual goal.
Right.
It's the stuff that happens either leading up to it or the stuff that happens after it. And I think that's a big part of it. I mean, as long as you have an eye for that, then you'll be able to do all sorts of great things. So yeah.
Earlier, I looked over at Tom, and he was just staring at me and shaking his head no, and there's nothing scarier than that. I was like, I'm in trouble for something. We'll find out.
Oh.
Yes.
We kind of lost
now we're all staring at each other.
Oh,
What
look,
do you want to talk about?
no choo-choo.
Help us.
Oh, look.
Bye,
Choo-choo.
everybody.
No choo-choo.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll stay. I'll stay.
We'll move the microphone down a little bit.
We're a duet now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Wait, what was the
Lisa-
question? Wait,
Li-
what was the question?
I know what it is. I'm gonna repeat it.
Okay.
All right. Lisa wants to know, what is your most viral GIF?
It actually wasn't a GIF. It was a Photoshop. I played the reverse Jordan when Leonardo DiCaprio won the Oscar finally, because everybody was
Yes.
getting ready to put the crying Jordan on him. So I decided to put him on Michael Jordan's body instead. So I kind of flipped the script, and that ended up getting I think 7,000 likes and retweets.
Nice.
It blew up pretty quick. That's probably my most viral thing I've ever made. Yeah.
That's a pretty good answer. I don't know if I can beat 7,000 retweets.
No.
My most viral tweet was my picture of the royal princes, William and Harry.
That was good.
It was kind of a dumb joke. I feel like when I put it up, I was like, haha, I'm real dumb.
This one's amazing. Oh my God, people actually like it. Fuck, I was kidding.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Chad Marshall retweeted that one, so I felt pretty good about that.
I think my within Sounderland was the map of the of the travel to and from.
Oh yeah, that was so good. Loved it.
And then outside of that, I'm trying to find it. The one that has had, I honestly did not expect it to go as far as it did, was that the snakes and the iguana video that was going around a while back.
Yeah.
I took it and I put the what's it called? It's the theme song to Yakety Sax. Yes, and I put that over it, and I mean it's had thousands and thousands of retweets, and
Nice.
I even got somebody from some British TV show called me up or emailed me or DM'd me and, can we put this on our show? Give me $100, and they're like, okay.
Nice.
There you go.
Raking in the hundos.
Is this a real question?
I was like, it took me all of 30 seconds to do. I was not making a lot of money at the time. I was like,
probably like a what is it called? The You're the Man Now dog.
Right.
There's
I remember.
there's probably
Yes.
a site like that for Yakety Sax where you just throw shit
Yes.
in it and it spits it out. And if there isn't, one of us should go home
Seriously.
tonight.
seriously.
That's excellent. I think we know what Max's is.
Well, that's
Maybe not.
That's one of my two, of course. That's one definitely got the most traffic on Twitter. On Facebook, the one I'm still new to Twitter, so I still separate the two in my head. After the CCL game away in Mexico last year, after we had lost, I went home. By home, I mean the hotel room, and I was planning on editing all my photos, but I was tired. I was frustrated. I really wanted us to win. I knew we wouldn't, but I really wanted us to win. And especially after Valdez had scored his goal, I thought, this is ours. And then reality hit us 2 minutes later. But that's okay. But I just took the photo of Valdez celebrating. I just wrote, for one brief moment, we were kings. Posted, shut the computer off, went to bed. Woke up in the morning, and holy... some word that probably can't be said on this.
No, you can say.
Oh, well, holy
This is a very clean show.
It's a family show.
Yeah, so
family.
Right. Family.
So yeah, that one got quite a bit of that one got quite a bit of traffic.
Nice.
It's good. It's good. I think the thing that I'm most proud of, which is dumb, is the supporter stories interview with Perry the Penalty
Oh, that was
Peanut.
good.
That's creatively
good.
satisfying on a level I don't often accomplish.
I honestly, I think that is either number 1 or number 2. It might be number 2 behind Ross.
Oh yeah, well,
But
of most
yeah.
viewed, yeah.
Of most viewed supporter
Because
stories.
it's fucking weird.
It's real weird.
Yes.
It's real
Yes.
weird. But having to like as far as writing goes, having to draft the questions that I ask the Peanut and
Who
his
has to be
friends,
answered
yeah,
through an interpreter.
in an interpretive dance.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
So
just like
Which is amazing.
it's so good.
And the
I
best
know.
part is someone got paid to come up with the solution to interview the penalty peanut.
Yes, his name is Casey.
And we
That's
know
Casey,
Smart
yes.
man.
Yeah.
Did you see at the end of the season they were selling 8x10 like glossy photographs of the mascots, and they have one of Casey, and it's
But
just like the I can't remember what it says. It's like the magic maker. I can't even know. I don't even know what it is. But I
He's
bought one 'cause
amazing.
it's crazy,
Yeah.
and he's cool.
That's hilarious. No, I missed that. That Perry.
I will say that one of the funniest things I've been a part of without knowing it was when I coached wrestling, some of the boys one day decided to take a camera and put it right behind Jerry, and Jerry was the head coach, I was the assistant coach, right as we were coaching a really high intense match. And I knew Jerry's from Jersey, he wears his emotions on his sleeve, so he's very, very loud, he's very vocal, you know exactly what he's thinking at all times. And you can just hear him yelling, screaming, and you just see me kind of sitting there. Then our boy blows a 3-point lead with like 10 seconds to spare, and I just sit there, like, that boy needs to learn how to wrestle. Then I stand up and like, hey Jay, come here for a second, and I'm like being all encouraging and stuff, and then they show that at the banquet. I'm like, no.
Oh, no.
And then they post it on YouTube, and I'm like, guys, you're killing me.
So I will say, one of the other things that took off and went much further than I ever expected, and I had some to do with it, except I was just more or less behind the production, was 2 summers ago. There was a soccer game going on, and somebody tripped a player, and that player then turned around with both feet, kicked the guy.
Oh yeah.
That made it on to like all sorts, like
Yeah.
Keith Olbermann,
George Michael Sports Machine.
Like it was all like I was on Sports Center. My production with these little tiny like $1,200 cameras was on Sports Center as like the number one thing. And then 1 week later, almost to the exact day I believe, 1 week later was the red card wedding.
That's right. Yeah.
Which made it, so it was like 2 weeks in a row. It was like, oh shit, what's going on? Why are we water branding this?
Yeah, seriously. Why aren't we rich right now?
No.
Wow.
I love that.
Yeah. And it was actually kind of at that point, that was actually kind of the launching point for me to get really deep into the Sounders community, because I had no idea. All these people were retweeting our stuff, and it was all over the place, and I had to figure out who these people were. And then they were nice.
So this is fun, and like I did have an agenda, but this is better. So we're gonna go with this. Read the room. Read the internet. Worst thing you've ever like worked on or produced or whatever. Like worst thing where you might have thought it was super awesome and then it totally bombed, like professionally, or you thought something like Jose. We talked a little bit earlier about something you would have thought was really funny, and then you post it and people are like, that's dumb, no.
Yeah.
So like worst thing, horror story, because stories are fun.
Yeah.
Don't lie.
Well-
You all have one.
No, I'm just trying to figure out
Which
one.
one? Exactly.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Let's block this out. I refuse to answer this question. Is my lawyer present?
Is this gonna be like
Do you have a lawyer?
like the
I'm for
bouncy
hire.
house question?
I do.
and we're gonna need to come back to it?
I mean, I've got one. It wasn't necessarily the worst possible thing, but it really sticks out because it was kind of a defining moment for me and for our company. We were hired by a client. We were going to do a kind of a bigger long-term project, video-wise. And the first thing they said was, "But we actually want to do some photos first." And I said, "We're not a photo we're not photographers." And it's like, "But you have a camera, it takes pictures." And I was like, "Okay, sure, we can do that." And we didn't do it for very much money. And I told them up front, like, "We're not photographers." And we did it, and it was clear that we were not photographers. And they were gracious, but that was the end of that contract. And it was one of those times where it's just like, okay, I learned a big lesson. We lost a big potential client because we thought we could do everything, and we can't. I remember getting the email saying, "Hey, we're not really happy with the final product. What can you do?" And I remember slamming
We can go back in time.
Yeah.
And listen to me when I tell you what we're actually good at. I'm not lying
And not
to
go
you.
back in time and fix it. Go back in time to the conversation where I told you we're not photographers.
So I literally shut my
Worst.
laptop. I went for like a 2-hour walk. I came back and as I was walking, I was processing, and I came back and I composed an email, and his response to my email was, it took him like 2 days to respond, was, "I remember you telling me that you weren't the photographers, and you said this was kind of a trial thing." So he was, like I said, he was very gracious, but it was also very clear that was the end of the relationship, kind of a thing. So, yeah, that would be my. It wasn't necessarily the biggest, but it sticks out the most. That was yesterday. No, I'm kidding.
It was the Sounders.
Oh, no.
No, it wasn't.
So S2 will now be no.
Down to S3.
No, wait. S, 7th place.
So Pub League?
No. We're at least 8th, 9th.
I was going to say, Pub League's what, like 20th division?
I don't know. We're really good.
And then you would never do photography.
So anyway, does anyone else have? You don't have to have a bad story that you want to share.
Yeah.
You can say no.
No.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Max is like, guys, I am in.
I will say it's the. I was kind of stuck between two, but the one I'm going to go with is the one that got me out of doing weddings. Yeah, everyone shudders
Yep.
all of a sudden. And the reason why this one sticks to me as being just awful was because... Oh, where am I supposed to go here?
Because the bride is married to someone else, Max.
I'm being signaled to go this way. All right. I like how they had to look at the screen and figure out, okay, which way does he need to go?
Where's Max?
Right.
All right. What happened on this one was, it was for a friend that I was going to shoot, and because they're my friend, I was giving them a pretty freaking steep rate. By steep, I mean like really good discount. And with that, I kind of walked them through. Okay, this is what I'm going to do for you. This is what it would normally cost. Just giving them a rundown of like what they could expect from a reputable photographer who doesn't give discounts to friends or anything. Which also one of the reasons I'm not going to ever give discounts to friends again, except for the time I'm doing it this summer because I love my friends.
Always.
But what they did was they took my quote and they used that as leverage to get the photographer they actually wanted
Whoa.
at a discounted rate.
Whoa.
And
That's a
That's-
party foul, man.
that's
That's like friendship
bad.
foul.
because A, it's undercutting them because this is someone that's trying to make their livelihood. This is what they're trying to make their
Yeah.
profession.
Right.
And B, it makes me look like a complete dick in the community because
Yep.
oh look at this
Yeah.
guy, he's willing to make
everybody.
Yeah.
this. So is
Wow.
and that was just that's. I mean, he and I we didn't talk for quite a while, and
that's hard.
he's a nice dude. He's one of my friends, but it's at the same time he eventually came back and said, "Oh, I'm sorry about that." I'm like, "It's not that I didn't do your wedding; it's that you made me look bad." In front of everyone. Yeah, thank you
Right.
for the cha-ching there. That was fantastic.
That's
Ship it.
That's messed up.
I'm sure I could come up with good stories, but when you start
You're gonna pass.
when you start a business at 22, you can imagine that for at least the first 5 years, you're going to fail so often on such a daily basis because you don't know anything about being an adult or business.
Well, it
Constellation
has.
Code?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I started at
Congratulations, that's
22, and I'm now 30, so we've come a long way, and I'm
Nice.
somewhat smarter than I was. But I don't know. I have a hard time sometimes comparing to other people who started their business later in life because they get so much farther, so much faster. But I was a baby and stupid. Sometimes, I mean, I don't know. It depends on the industry. But anyways, I can feel like there's so many of those stories that I could go back to, like being fired by clients, having to fire clients, like that same thing where you're just trying to give somebody a deal and then they tell their friend that you're really cheap, so you should go and ask them for that cheap rate. And I also no longer do weddings except for Sounders fans. It's actually true. I really only do wedding invitations for Sounders fans now. It's like a weird threshold at which I know people are going to be cool and decent and like
So is that
somewhat
like an
fun to
intake
be around.
question?
Yes.
You say you got a wedding, yeah. So
If
what
they're
day?
like, do my
Okay.
wedding.
Are
I'm
you a
like,
Sounders
no.
fan?
They're like, but I heard about it on No Sadiatis. And I'm like, come on in. Like, welcome.
You're authentic.
Exactly. You're a real person. I don't know. It's weird. Anyways, it's a ramble.
All right, so we've got about 15 minutes, or as long as we want to go, really, because
Yeah.
we're outside and we can do what we want. And it's not raining, and karaoke hasn't started yet, so we can kind of mess around. We could talk a little bit about Sounders. 'Cause there was a game
Yeah.
the other day,
Oh, there was.
and there's
That-
another game this week.
That
Do
Nico
you guys
goal,
want to talk
though.
about that, or do you want
Yes.
to talk about
That
like,
Nico goal. What?
Yeah, so that happened.
He basically just like, what? I still,
No one
like,
knows.
I've watched
I
it so
actually
many
looked at that and I'm
times,
like,
and there's no way that goes
I know
in.
how to,
There's no
like,
way.
physically kick a ball in various
It's
situations.
not like that.
But I was like, you kick that up and over people,
Yeah.
and then into the net.
And
Outside foot, outside
the
foot.
up and down emotional roller coaster of like Dempsey kicking it into the wall again, and then Nico gets it in, and we're all like up here, and then we're down here again. Like, that match.
Why did it have to be Wondolowski? Why Wanda?
It's always Wanda.
Of course it's Wanda.
You knew it was coming.
Of
Yeah.
course it was.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
But they apparently practiced kicking you into the wall.
although I talked to a couple people about that, and then we heard that was maybe a joke. What I would say was the joke was that they did that on purpose. I do think there's a chance they practiced
What happens?
who was going to take what in what
Oh,
situation.
of course.
Sure.
Because I think there's, especially now, like you have, we should talk about this because they're way too cramped up there right now. Like the Dempsey Nico thing is a challenge, and
They were
while
the same.
it looks super cool at certain times, they're clearly trying to do some of the same things. But you have two people that are like just deadly on the ball
Yeah.
in any situation, trying to do sort of the same job. I think the fun part is you don't know if you're the keeper in that situation. You have two people who've scored on set pieces, and either one of them can take that shot. You have to prepare for that. Like, that's why you see teams do that. You watch enough, like, Champions League and teams with just, like, sick numbers of players. We have 3 or 4 of those people who can take a free kick, can take a really nasty corner,
Yeah.
whatever. But you have those two guys, and I think rejuvenated Deuce, or whatever you want to call him right now, like, people were
Deuce
joking
version
on
2.
Twitter after that national team game that, like, Portland Twitter was melting down. Whether or not that happened doesn't matter, because at some level, like, dude looks like he does not care about anything. So, like, I don't want to face that. And Ladero,
Right,
and
already.
Jordan Morris. Oh, and this random guy who's now playing center back when he feels like it. Where did that guy come from?
Yeah.
Nice hair. And so on. But, you know, I think this has the chance to be one of those, like, really frustrating, like, talk about this on baseball a lot, like, on paper your team's fucking epic, and then you draw every week, you know, like,
Yeah.
can we not do this? And this is nowhere near what I think we experienced for, like, a fair portion of last year that we, you know, came out of at the end of the season. It's, you know, you didn't lose at San Jose.
most seasons we'd all be like, I'm super cool with that.
Yeah.
Right now, you're like, fuck those guys. And I know it was Wondolowski, and it's
I think it's only
it's
because
gonna
it was that
happen.
90th minute. Like,
But that was just frustrating because they didn't look as good as I think we all thought they would be.
Yeah.
You know, right now with this lineup.
I just have to say I love Emily's comment. Reducinated. Fantastic. Love it.
My thought after Brad's tweet was, who volunteers every week at practice to be in the wall?
She just said
Do you
that.
know who it isn't?
Lisa just was wondering who volunteers to be in the wall at practice. It's a
Number of times Clint Dempsey and Nico Ladero have been in the wall in the last 10 years.
over under.
Right? Maybe zero?
I'm gonna say
1?
0.
Yeah.
Is there a way to be in the negatives on this?
Deuce actually, when he gets told he's going to be in there, he just grabs someone else and puts there.
Yeah, human shield.
He runs back and grabs the keeper.
Oh man.
Maybe those academy players. Hey, you want your shot at S2? Here you go.
I'm going to just keep drinking because it's fun. It creates dead air. And I
We're all
have 2
trying
beers
to be
now,
so
this is super
respectful.
cool.
All right, so
I'm saying only a quarter of the things I'm thinking, which is pretty good for me.
You know, you can say other things.
You don't want that. Don't bring that
you
on
can
yourself.
say 33% of them.
Repeating? Of course.
So anyway, all right. So let's move on to this week. So Friday night, Vancouver. Is anyone here going? Jake's going.
I'm staying home to play public
Grandma's
because
going.
Spaceballs needs me.
Eileen's going. Are you going? Shemaine, you going? Max,
I don't know.
are you working?
Putting my face
Uh,
on the microphone.
No, I can't go because I've got this thing on Saturday morning that I've got to be running.
Oh, that's right.
He got sucked in to be the
So anyway, so a number of folks here are going. So Friday night, I think 2 years ago I didn't really like the concept of Friday night MLS. I think it competed against some other things. After having, maybe it was just that we had Atlanta and it was a new thing. I like the concept. I think it's fun.
It's grown on me.
Yeah.
Playing
Yeah.
Vancouver away on a Friday is fucking stupid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Friday at home. Friday at home.
Probably. Well, I mean, that's selfish to say it that way.
Yeah.
I would agree. Although Vancouver's not traveling, so I would totally take it on a Friday night.
Yeah.
But there's 300 plus going between ECS and the Sounders, the tickets that they sold. A fair chunk, actually, considering what we've had between CCL and regular season last few years. The good news is I think we have MLS Cup hangover, and that's going to work for us, even
Sure.
on a Friday. And frankly, for Easter weekend,
Yeah.
for us to have 300 people
Yeah.
going to Canada is really, really good.
Yeah.
Vancouver did not have a good day
In the snow.
the other day, which if you
oh,
haven't
we
gone
gotta talk
back
about
and
that
watched
snowball.
match,
That snowball
you
gift.
gotta watch it.
Snowball? Yeah.
So any comments, predictions, thoughts, things you expect to see on Friday? I mean, first Cascadia match of the season.
How many people claim refugee status in Canada?
Oh my gosh.
Are we going to sing Province
No.
11? Is it 11?
Rom already said he won't do it.
13.
Oh no. Rob.
13.
13, they have 12.
Yeah.
No,
I looked it up
No,
today.
it's 13. I looked it up. Oh no, you're right. No, you're right. No, because I was thinking.
We were all
I
Googling
had
the same
I was
things
I,
today.
I was
How
joking with
many
Dylan
provinces
Vanderhoof
in
about
Canada?
singing. We could be Province 13. But
You're thinking Hunger Games.
no, but 11 and 12 would also be Oregon and California. So I think.
Okay, all
We
right.
decided
I could be
wrong.
Can we be South British Columbia?
Yeah.
That doesn't
Or we
rhyme.
could be Southern BC, or we could be Southern BC, or we could be Province 11.
They could be.
I'm pretty sure
they
that they only
could
have
be
10.
North Washington. Let's just.
I don't
Keep
think
it-
they're
But
going to
then
accept
but then
that negotiation.
Have some confidence, Max Aquino.
I have a sports related
Ooh.
thought.
Yeah.
So all matches we played so far, we've been out-fouled by quite a big margin.
You mean like
Like
the
a
first
lot?
8 minutes of
Yes.
the game, and it was what 14 to
Insanity.
2 or something?
And that's something
18
that
to
we
2?
can always expect when we play Vancouver. So what do we
Different
do?
lineup though.
Yeah,
But
but in general, that's the way that the
Yeah.
that the
you
team
can
plays.
expect two things: one, being outfouled, and two, Waston is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Stop being good against the Sounders. sir.
And what about
Correct.
that
And Freddie.
16-year-old kid they got?
Is he 16 now?
Davies.
We talked about him for what? A half a show?
Yes. we did.
The 15-year-old?
Yeah.
He's 15.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is, how do we combat that if all the other teams we're playing are playing significantly more aggressively? Like, do we step up to that? Like, do we continue to like hold our own and take the fouls and try to get
We pulled
advantage from that?
Shay's hair.
He's out. I thought he got injured.
Don't care.
Just pull it anyway.
Over him to him in the stands and pull his hair.
Wherever
It
he
looks
is,
dumb.
he's cold and thinking of paddleboarding.
He's wearing Zubas somewhere right now.
What happened is he realized he was playing the Sounders in a week and got injured thinking he'd have to play Zach Scott and then remembered he retired.
So anyway, let's come back to that. So Freddie Montero,
Yeah.
irrelevant of personnel. Don't like any look at this in any other sport. Freddie Montero wants to play a good game against the Sounders.
Sure.
Right.
He doesn't give a shit that his family lives in town, all the good times he had, all the Instagram photos with him and whomever, all the times that you bump into him at arena sports, and people are like, "Oh, I'm playing against Freddie Montero right now. That's not fair." Like, doesn't matter. He's gonna want to play a big game
Yeah.
against them, and Vancouver, even when they're bad, gets up for Seattle.
Yep.
I think let's see what happens with Torres, because I think he makes a big difference.
Sure.
Sounders are never going to play like beat ball.
Yeah.
They're not going to be hard on people because those people are hard. They just aren't.
Yeah.
Not now, So for me, I think they're just going to try and play the game they want to be playing. I don't think they change anything.
Yeah.
Unless personnel dramatically changes between now and Friday.
Yeah. Hopefully not.
Although while we're at it, could we give a shout out to Svensson? Holy crap, that guy is good.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Wow.
Aside from being the new Jeff Park. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, never. Did you expect him to maybe play a random out of position spot? Yeah, because
Yeah.
the lineup was pretty stacked up where it was. Did you expect him to be better than a Gold Cup rockin' star on your team? No.
Yeah.
About 3 weeks ago, I was Svensson out. I was like, meh. And then I was like, oh. And then I was like, oh.
Even with the slip,
Yeah, like-
even with the slip on the
Just like,
field,
whoa,
that's not. It's not his fault.
stock is
Like,
rising.
it shouldn't have gotten to that point in the first place. Holy, where the fuck did that guy come from?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Sweden.
when you're like,
Right?
good job, guard.
Is it Sweden?
We always have to have a swing
that-
on the team.
It's Sweden?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure I was accurate. That's where he came from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
China giveth and China taketh away.
So Emily Fawcett is calling for the "We need all the Brad, you're mean" 2 polls.
I think Beth still has the one that says kick Brad from the testimonial.
So anyway, Max Aquino.
Uh-oh. What'd I do now?
Nothing
Oh, okay.
yet.
Just likes to say your name.
I just like saying Max Aquino.
It's fair.
Anyway, you asked the question though. Like, do you think the Sounders do
I was just
anything
curious.
different or
Yeah.
interesting? Like,
It's just
what's
something
the
I've
good-
noticed more this season than I feel
Yeah.
like even in previous seasons.
What's what happens when you have a bunch of offensive stars?
Yeah.
You know, you have
That's
four,
true.
not 4 or 5 of them on the team. You have 4 or 5 of them on the field
At the
Yeah.
same
all the
time.
time. You know?
Yep.
So people start playing trash soccer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have no opinions on that. Okay.
I asked the question, man.
I do have a good suggestion for how they should strategize against that. They need to put the little roundy thing in the opponent's squarey thing more times than they put it in ours. There we go. Problem solved.
Thank you, Lickit.
Yeah.
Is that a lick it thing?
Yes.
Oh, did you say the same thing?
Sorta.
Darn.
Max is new to Twitter.
It's true.
No, actually, Max is new to Twitter.
Quite literally, I check it once every 3 days, and then I'm like, you have 47
So you
new
miss a lot.
notifications. Yes.
All right.
Oh my God, Chris just called Svensson Gus in the comments.
Yeah.
And now I never want to read the comments again. I love the comments, but Gus? Goose!
Goose.
What if we outpossess them like we did?
Like, what was that, 2 years ago, where we literally just passed the ball around them?
Yeah, we can do that.
We counted.
That was last year.
Yeah, I don't know if I really have a prediction. I mean, honestly, I think they're going to come out really frustrated from losing that game.
Yeah.
In RSL at RSL the other
Because
day.
they've got, snow's kind of their thing. They're supposed to be good in the snow.
Well, you got beat
They're the
up.
white caps.
Who they lose to?
They got white on their caps.
They lose to Pachuca. Who do they lose to?
They lost to RSL, who's
in
not a good
CCL.
team right now.
Yeah.
Tigres. Yeah.
Oh,
They
yeah.
lost to Tigres.
Yeah.
Then they lost 3-0
It's a lot of losing.
in the snow.
A whole lot of
Played
losing.
Portland at the end of the season last year.
But I think they're gonna be. We're at home. We're playing somebody we need to get up for.
Right.
Let's bring it. You have some new players on the field for them. They've made some other changes. They're still fast as hell on that shitty turf.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear anything about Sounders turf ever again.
Yeah.
Like, look at the turf there. It's a disaster.
Well, we did just have the monster truck, so.
It was dirt
Oh,
bike.
dirt bikes.
That was
okay,
dirt
right.
bikes.
Whatever. It was a big pile
I'm
of
sure
dirt.
they brought in lots of dirt.
All of Kitsap County
I-
attended.
Wow. We're all just gonna leave that alone.
Jake's from Iowa, you guys. Have you heard of Iowa? I hear a town in Iowa won a Pulitzer Prize today.
San Jose's crap and pitch.
Yeah, which actually was so funny. So we don't normally get the post-game show on Q13 because the games end at sort of just the right time that they kill it. It was like, what was it, 9:36 or something like that it ended. So then they run a post-game show, and they're sitting on the sideline, and all you're watching is people filling divots on the
Yes,
field.
I was watching that.
The entire length of the field.
Totally.
And you're like, no,
It's
no,
a
that
shit
wasn't
job.
shitty.
It's such a shit job.
And we still don't know what that stain is.
It's been there for a while.
It's
Yeah.
still there.
Yeah.
It looks like the breast cancer ribbon,
Could be.
like that it's different on one side
Right.
than the other.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I
no
heard-
one knows. I'm like,
Stadium announcer
How
James
does
Woolard
no
said it
one
looked like a
know?
peep.
And Emily, you beat me to the punch on the Quidditch comment. I was going to make that one too.
Shout out to Kelly.
so anyway. So we're a little past 9.
Yeah.
We have Vancouver on Friday.
Yep.
We have a lot of travel this month.
A little bit.
All
Yeah.
the shot.
Yeah. so a
I'm
lot
going
of
on my
it.
first away trip next month. Not like first ever, but
Where are
first
you
this
going?
season. I'm going to
Say,
Portland.
I've been on a away trip with you. Can't be
I know.
first.
Well, it's my third.
That's in June.
No. Isn't it end of May?
No,
No, that's at
June.
home.
Damn it.
June
Yeah,
is,
you're right.
June
Damn
is at the
it.
end of May. Yes.
I got longer to wait.
Yes.
Sorry. I was excited.
We'll have you back in a month. And you'll be like, I'm going on my first away trip next month. And then
April
he'll
has
punch you
not
in the
been good
face.
for me, you guys. It's not been a good month. So
Nope,
I'm
bad
ready for
month.
May. I think we should move on.
So predictions for Friday.
The Sounders will win.
I'm probably still going to be sore from Pub League. That's my prediction.
Jake says 2-1 Sounders.
That's what I was going to go with too, actually.
That's a cop out.
He stole my
Fine,
answer.
3-1. Let's go 3-1.
Oh,
What? 3-1 with an own goal.
4-1. 4-1.
There you go.
do it.
You want
Do I hear
4-1?
5-1?
We got 5?
You don't hear 5-1.
I'm going 5-0.
5-0 Svensson
Yeah.
hat-trick.
If I get that right, what do I get?
I have 2 predictions for the weekend.
Kick and then get a red card 2 seconds.
Wait,
That could happen too.
5-0.
But the
who
hair
scores?
flip. But the hair flip.
Who scores in a 5-0 game?
Jordan.
Everybody.
Jordan. Christian.
Yep.
Dempsey. Nico.
Schmetzer brace.
Yeah, Schmetzer.
Let's go, coach. I love it.
Ozzy scores a goal.
Yeah.
where
Aussies
were we
do.
going?
About 30
All right,
yards
my
out.
prediction
man.
is I've got
Yes.
Scum and Villainy taking out Inter Redonk,
That's true.
and
Yeah,
I've got
last time.
Spaceballs taking out
you
Sea
go.
of Green.
Yay! Spaceballs.
Predictions over.
Very, very nice.
I like it.
Okay.
You guys.
Okay.
I just kind of want to keep looking at you guys to see what happens.
I mean, I've got things lined up that we could end the show on.
So you want to just run GIFs?
No, that was actually my favorite. My
Yes.
favorite one that I haven't shown yet is all 12 kicks at once.
Oh yeah, do it.
Oh my God.
You
Oh, yeah.
may not have seen this, and it's actually super awesome.
Yeah. So
Ship it.
Wait a second. I've got to do one thing.
Adam forgot how the
Here we
computer
go. All right,
worked.
ready? I didn't- okay, here it
Just
comes.
press the button.
Okay. All 12 at once. one for each of the 12 tracks.
So I knew that would drive people crazy. That was intentional.
It's completely awesome.
Did you ever see those things where it's like 10 straight hours of this scene from Boondock
Yes.
Saints or whatever, and
Yeah.
you're like, I don't understand how
Yeah.
it's a thing. And YouTube's like, we got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Or
okay.
Every time they say this word, the movie starts over.
Oh yeah. That's upsetting.
Yeah, the B movie where it speeds up every time they say the word B.
Yeah. Recently, I found out that on YouTube you can get lots of hours of kid songs that
Yes.
just play on repeat,
Yes.
and that's great for getting stuff done when you're a stay-at-home mom. So tips to all my no one listening who needs that tip.
Other things that I learned this week from Sarah are, if you're 2 years old and you have to go to the bathroom, don't ever do it during the day. Hold on to it till nighttime.
Don't do that.
Yes.
Pour some out. Pour some out for the mothers and toddlers. For real. Today, I'm trying to get like 3 things done. I don't have much to get done. But I hear this tiny voice going, uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. And I'm like, oh no, what's happening? And I come in the room and there's literally pee. A 5-foot swath of pee that I literally was like, where did you find a bucket of water to throw on my house? I was like literally looking, like where did you find the bucket? And then I look and his little pants are all covered and he's just like, uh-oh, uh-oh. And it was the sweetest, saddest thing. And it was everywhere. And you can't be mad because he's 2, he's learning. But God, so much pee in my house.
I think we're going to end it on that, right?
I like it. That's
End
good.
the show right there. All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, everybody, for being here. All you creatives. Thank you, Tom Biro.
Not ever say
Thank you, Tom Biro.
That was the joke.
Good night. Good
Sonar
night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
SonarFeed.
1-0 Sounders. Well, tough times call for big players to stand up and be counted. And that's exactly what
He's dead now.
I've come to talk with you again, because a vision softly creeping led me sis while I was sleeping.
1-0 Sounders. Well, tough times call for big players to stand up and be counted.